EMTV News gets access to NHC Lay office. Vehicle theft on the rise in NCD. And RVO reports activity subsiding on Kadovar Island.
This is the National EMTV News with Rabaul.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Tuesday's news. After weeks of running stories of evictions of families living in NHC houses in Leh, authorities finally agreed to speak about what is a bigger problem than first thought. The recently appointed regional manager for the National Housing Corporation in Leh has revealed how bad management is destroying the organization. Andrew Agui took the EMTV Leh crew into the NHC office and showed them the filing room where important property files are in disarray. Some have been lost or, what's now becoming apparent, stolen. Agui says the office does not have power, water, vehicles or even a post office box.
Andrew Agui is a valuer by profession. He was sidelined under the old management, and while there were instructions issued to have him reinstated, it wasn't done until late last year when a new management and a new minister came into office. Agui now has a tough job on his hands. He has to deal with the 3-year backlog of illegal evictions and complaints, internal administration problems and records that are in disarray. You can't really grasp the problem of fake titles and illegal evictions until you see the filing room. And this is it, the room where all the records of properties in Leh are kept. There is no real filing system here, and these important documents are exposed to the elements and have been for many years.
Most of the files are gone. Yeah. When the contract came in, submitted finishing door was left open.
This in itself has opened up the organization to widespread corruption and abuse. In the 2016 and 17 period, a contractor was brought in to do renovations. It was later discovered he didn't have a legal contract for the 400,000 kina job. The contractor removed the windows and the tiles but didn't complete the job. He also removed the toilet and didn't have it replaced.
This is to be a men's toilet. Everything's gone.
When he wasn't paid, he locked the office door. The door was later forcefully removed by the NHC staff. The office was then left open for at least a year in 2016. Water PNG also slapped the NHC office with a 10,000 kina fine for an illegal water connection, a fine they have not yet paid. The office still doesn't have water, a post office box or vehicles to do its job. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
Former Chief Justice Sir Arnold Ahmed was attacked by a man in Madang yesterday. Sir Arnold said lawlessness is an ongoing challenge to the nation and there are no quick fixes for it. He said it's been 42 years since the country became independent and yet these challenges have not improved.
Targeting me or some...
The former Chief Justice and Madang Governor said there are many different aspects that contribute to the lawlessness in today's society. Some of these aspects include education and economic development and employment. Sir Arnold says there are many organizations that need to become involved and not just the police or the government.
Many different organizations in our community have to become involved in not just the police, not just the government, churches, civil society, the community, ourselves at the very community ward level have to take some ownership, and I know some leaders are doing the very best with limited resources in that level. So it requires multiplicity of responses by everybody. No one section of our community has the answer.
Sir Arnold's comment comes after an armed man attacked him while he was driving into town from his home at Nagada along the North Coast Road of Madang. Sir Arnold had to slow down when he saw the man walk out to the middle of the road armed with a bush knife. The man swung the weapon at the vehicle and dented the right rear side door of Sir Arnold's car. The former Chief Justice adds there are no quick fix solutions to crimes being committed. He says that is one of the challenges citizens are faced within the local community, regardless of status in society.
The challenges that we all find ourselves faced with, whether you are an ordinary citizen like I am now in the local community, or you're a senior national leader in ministerial position or a cabinet position or parliamentarian. I know I have been there. I've been a jurist for 20 years. I've been a criminal defense lawyer, a politician, governor, minister and attorney general, and quite frankly, I just feel like we've got much work to do as a nation, and it'll require whole of our society to contribute. No one section has the answer to this.
Madang police are investigating the matter. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
The Family and Sexual Violence Unit in Port Moresby is using computer software to collect data on FSV cases. The new software, programmed by Computer Zone, has made filing a lot easier for officers. Using the system, officers can find details of a complaint or the perpetrator just with a click of a mouse.
In just 1 month, FSV officers have already seen how fast case files and related information can be pulled out of the system. Computer Zone Sales and Marketing Manager John Iamo explains that the software has been installed at all 8 police stations in Port Moresby, with the main server located at Boroko.
It is very, very important now. You cannot police hotspots, or you cannot police a certain crime like assault or adultery and all this unless there's proper data available. Now I can show you on the system now current hotspots in NCD, and there is also percentage for staff appraisal, like staff using the system get automatic appraisal by the system.
The initiative to advance into an electronic filing system is one approach police in Port Moresby have taken to improve its operations in dealing with sexual-related violence. Chief Engineer Jeremy Jeffrey explains that the system can act as a monitoring body to see how each officer has performed in their duties. What the system does is it also records details of the parties involved in the case, if arrests were made, the progress of the case before the courts, and whether the case is related to another.
As they upload in Gerau or Waigani or Gordons, so to speak, or Badili, 6 Mile, the data is automatically available to access here in Boroko.
Meanwhile, the statistics on sexual offences against minors remains high. Police are still receiving an average of 1 reported case daily. Between 22nd and 28th January, there were 6 cases reported at the Sexual Offences Unit. In the last 3 years, Port Moresby Police have arrested, prosecuted and convicted close to 800 cases on sexual offences alone. In 2015, there were 301 cases reported. In 2017, 307 were registered with police, and in 2017, 261 cases.
That the degree of the case is so high that the department decided to create a unit to deal with those cases alone, family sexual cases alone. It needs specific training of the investigators to be sensitive to deal with this.
Police continue to stress that the perpetrators are known to the victims and parents should never leave their children unsupervised. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
There has been an increase in reported cases of stolen motor vehicles in the National Capital District. Police in Port Moresby are now cautioning motorists to be on alert when moving around the city.
According to police reports received between Sunday 21st and Sunday 28th of January, there were 18 reported cases of stolen vehicles. That is 5 cases higher from the previous week's record of 13. NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Pero Drano attributes this to the increased traffic now that schools and normal businesses have resumed for the year.
We had about 13 last week. Now we have 18. Sorry, 13 the previous week, and last week, for the last 7 and to Sunday, we had 18 stolen motor vehicle. And
in an interview with former NCD and Central Divisional Commander, Assistant Police Commissioner Sylvester Calout, in 2016, police say criminals steal vehicles to either use in a robbery or to remove its parts for reselling. But police have a 30% rate of recovering vehicles in the first 24 hours and another 30% rate of retrieving stolen vehicles in 48 hours. In 2017, police have identified sedans like Toyota Aries and CRVs as the most targeted vehicles. But recent police reports reveal that that is not the case anymore.
When you're traveling, be aware of your surroundings. Where you're going, always use your mirrors, rear vision mirrors, and the location you're going. That's why I use the word vigilant. If we were vigilant enough, we could avoid most of those things. Stolen motor vehicle crime is mostly opportunities that we present. Once the victim presents such opportunity, those intended criminals become criminals using that opportunities.
Motorists are being cautioned to be extra careful when driving around the nation's capital. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Minister for Transport and Infrastructure Wesley Nukund has appealed to small craft operators to take precaution when travelling along coastal seas and inland waterways. He personally called on small craft owners and operators in the 15 maritime provinces not to overload banana boats. He also appealed to all land transportation to not overload when travelling, and all PMV drivers should avoid speeding as most roads are wet and slippery. According to weather reports, the oceans of the Solomon Sea and Milne Bay areas are very conducive for tropical cyclone developments at this time. Here with National EMTV News still to come, volcanic activity subsides on Kadovar Island and plans to expand the Madang port. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Reports from the Rabaul Volcanological Observatory indicate volcanic activity on Kadovar Island is slowing down. In a 24-hour report released yesterday, there is now a significant drop in sulfur dioxide emissions, which indicates no new lava displacement. The report also revealed the volcano vents are emitting weak to moderate steam to over 100 meters above the island, and there is now a low risk of a tsunami. However, it maintains Kadovar is still a high-risk zone and people should avoid the disaster area. Meanwhile, Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited donated 50,000 kina this afternoon for the Kadovar Relief Appeal. KPHL Managing Director Wapu Song presented the donation to ECP Governor Alan Bird. Mr. Song says the donation is part of the company's social obligation in assisting communities who are affected by natural disasters. Governor Bird says all donations will be accounted for. He adds, so far he has received around 500,000 kina in donations. The national government is considering another loan from the Chinese Exim Bank to start work on the Pacific Marine Industrial Zone project in Madang. National Planning and Monitoring Minister Richard Maru has written a letter to the Exim Bank of China requesting for this loan. He said the scope of work for the wharf design has changed and the government is now looking at a much bigger port to allow ships to enter.
The Pacific Marine Industrial Zone will cover at least 215 hectares of land. It is located close to the Hardy Tuna Cannery at Vidar in Madang Province. The zone is expected to house 10 fish processing factories and employ at least 40,000 people, of which a majority will be women. National Planning and Monitoring Minister Richard Maru says the government would need a new loan to be processed. The loan is expected to go over 100 million kina.
But because of time and the change of cost, China Exim Bank now requires us to now apply for a new loan. In fact, through the Prime Minister's office, he requested that they draw down the balance of the loan, the initial loan of US 95 million, so we could get the project up and running while we negotiate the extra funding. But the Chinese Exim Bank has said that's not according to their rules. We have to now ask for a completely new loan, and that's the reason why it's been delayed. Otherwise, we had insisted as government for the initial US 95 million to be drawn down, so we could get the construction going. So it is not the intention of our government to have delayed the project. We have asked for the initial loan to be drawn while we ask for an additional loan through a loan variation, but that has not been agreed by the China Exim Bank. So
this is to accommodate changes to the project's scope of work for a new wharf design.
The reason for the new loan is because the scope of the work, especially the wharf design, has changed. We are now looking for a much bigger wharf which will allow bigger ships to come into the PMIZ area. Because of that, the China Exim Bank has wanted a completely new loan to be processed.
Mr. Maru said he will be leading a delegation to China to look at the loan funding, among other things. He said the PMIZ project is expected to provide employment to locals as well as generate revenue for the government.
70% of all our catch in terms of our tuna in this country is not processed in PNG. They're taking it out. As a result, we are losing over 40,000 jobs that would be created, mainly for women in this country. Our government is determined to build a PMIZ. The land is there. Designs have been completed. All we need is the loan funding to complete the construction of the project, so we can have at least 10 new canneries in the current PMIZ location. That is important for the country, because once we have the 10 locations, our government can then, as policy, insist that anyone fishing in PNG waters must bring their catch into PNG, because we would have the processing capacity to process all the fish onshore.
Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Medang.
A bridge near the Kokoda Lodge was submerged by an overflowing river yesterday due to the continuous heavy downpour over the last few days. Students and parents who turned up for registration at the Yarawari Secondary and Sogeri National High Schools had to use ropes to cross the bridge. They were helped by local youth and the communities who reside by the river. No serious casualties were reported, but an elderly man was almost carried away by floodwaters while attempting to cross.
Slab bridge, what all papa mama, what all cargo, now all market something, all mama go down loan, go down market, all like go market, me bla help him all, what time all mangi me bla kisim all go upside, what time all kai bag, what bla lapun man staban tablo itiki. Em go upside where DY stop place em like go logem current blow wara kisim me all mangi, all only mem, now all api mem, na puti mem lo taro stop place all rausi mem lap na karim mem go lap.
The Department for Community Development and Religion plans to make this year bigger than last year. Its focus will be on strengthening its management of never-before-seen funding commitments from the government, empowering communities through capturing people with special abilities and the elderly, and furthering human rights. These major focus areas are part of the department's 2018 Annual Operational Plan, which is underlined by its mission to build the educated and productive PNG families and communities for tomorrow.
The Department of Community Development and Religion is ready for 2018 with the launch of their annual operational plan yesterday. The production of the first national child protection policy last year was one of the department's biggest achievements, and this has set a platform for success.
Youth and religion.
Of the many key result areas, the department is also looking at enhancing community capacity with the focus on implementing disability programs and promoting elderly inclusive programs.
Disability officers, we need their presence in the districts. At this point in time, we don't have them in the districts.
National Planning and Monitoring Minister Richard Maru commended the department for being the first to launch their annual plan. However, he challenged both the department and Minister Soroy Eowe to focus on rural communities and youth unemployment in the nation. He also stressed that the department needs to prove that it can do its job accurately and be accountable to the funds that have continually been allocated to them from various donors.
For that, we want to bring the services to the village and not services in Waigani like we keep talking about. The village people must feel the impact of the programs, because your department is the only department that's really focused on families and the villages and the aids and the disadvantaged. That mandate is vested solely.
Minister Eowe accepted the challenge and stated that he is grateful to the government for giving them a good slice in the national budget. With this year's operational plan, he is confident to see more community development in the nation.
Taking on that challenge head on and going out and do something. Secretary.
Lillian Kinea, National EMTV News.
Newcrest operators of Lihir mine in New Island province have reported an increase in production in the final quarter of 2017. Among results released to the financial markets today, the mining company reported a 17.2% jump in gold production for the 3 months ending December the 31st. According to Newcrest Managing Director and CEO Sandeep Biswas, Lihir continued to perform positively, realizing a 3% increase in gold production during this period, with a total of over 209,000 ounces of gold produced. He says this performance was due to a number of factors, including higher proportion of ex-pit ore feed being processed and high recoveries being achieved in the process plant. In Morobe Province, Newcrest also conducted a ZTEM geophysical program as part of the search for gold pool-like periphery systems in this region, with the results yet to be made known. National EMTV News continues after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The National Court has ordered for the uncounted ballot boxes of the Southern Highlands provincial seat held in Mount Hagen to be returned to Mendi. It has also rejected stay order applications of Southern Highlands Governor William Powie against election petitioners Joseph Kobol and Pastor Bernard Peter. Sitting Judge Justice Colin Mackay also handed down an order for William Powie to pay for the cost of transporting the ballots back to Mendi. The Southern Highlands regional seat was the last seat of the 2017 elections to be declared after special consideration was given to declare William Powie as elected governor while there were still outstanding ballots to be counted. The case resumes with the election petitions on the 21st of February. Omili Primary School in Leh, Morobe Province has not received its full tuition fee-free payment of more than 600,000 kina for 2017. The school's head teacher, Doreen Boas, said the school has survived through fees paid by parents. The government now owes the school 1.2 million kina, which include TFF payments for this year, 2018. The school's administration is calling on the government to quickly pay up the outstanding in order for the school to deliver quality education to its students.
Alone has not received any TFF.
When we visited Omili Primary School in April last year, the head teacher Doreen Boas said they have not received their TFF payment from the government. Boas again confirmed today that the government has not paid and still owes the school its 2017 full TFF payment of more than 600,000 kina.
So here we are saying we need more. We need our TFF that was not paid to us last year to be paid this year, so we can make teaching and learning a success and a priority for Omili Primary School.
The primary school has managed to operate last year through the fees paid by the parents.
They understand that there is no free education in this world, and education for their children is very important. That's why they pay. They don't wait for the subsidy. They don't complain about the TFF fund. The parents want education to move, they want the children to learning to move, and at the end they want best result.
The 2018 academic year has begun and students' enrollment has commenced this week. But the school still has not received its TFF payment for 2017 and 2018 from the government.
TFF is a government policy, and when it's a policy made by the government,
the government will be is the owner of the policy, so it should implement the policy. And then we are the custodian of implementation on the ground. While it's not here, we cannot implement effectively.
The school's administration has called on the government to quickly settle the outstanding payment for 2017 and 2018.
We are not appealing. The government owes us what we have. It has to come to us this year, 2018.
It will be a total failure for this TFF team. It's a failure.
I'm appealing to the government of the day to ensure that it releasing this TFF money is rightfully ours.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
Sogeri National High School will be charging 800 kina as a parent component fee to help the school. The principal explained the fee will go toward the school's operation while waiting for TFF funding. The school has been collecting this fee since 2015 after parents agreed to pay for it. This year they took in 75 more grade 11 students, but the principal says it does not affect the quality of education as 95% of their students get placements in tertiary institutions.
United Diversity is the Sogeri National High School motto, as its students come from secondary schools across the country.
Yes, that's the bigger picture. We want to educate better citizens, and then that we promote United in Diversity. So
today, grade 11 students had their orientation, while the grade 12s have already commenced lessons. In 2015, parents and teachers meeting agreed to pay an 800 kina fee as the parents component. Every year since then, parents have agreed to pay the fee.
That's what we call parents component. They want to assist the school because sometimes TFF doesn't come on time. So
the Education Minister has warned schools not to collect project fees, but Sogeri National High School says the payments keep the school running while awaiting the TFF funding each year.
For these three different areas, for utilities, for uniforms, and I think the other one is medical cover.
There is an ongoing debate on the effects of TFF causing education standards to drop. But for Sogeri National High School, this year they are continuing to increase their students' intake by 75 more students.
In the beginning of the year this happens, we go up to 40, but this year we will go up to 45. And I've already explained to the students, the teachers, I told them to look at the bigger picture. We try to give opportunities to those guys. When we get the top students out, they keep on filling up the gap. So those who could possibly be on the regarded as grade 10 leavers, at least 70 of them, we are helping them to solve that problem. So right now we will be having at an average of 45 students per teacher, which is a big load.
The school is one of the best in the country. Last year, 95% of the grade 12 students successfully secured a tertiary placement.
2015, we have been continuously increasing the output, which is exact opposite of what's supposed to be happening in real terms. So when you have a number of grade 12s coming up, our output should be decreasing. But for Sogeri, it's having the other effect other way around. So we are sort of every year we are increasing our output.
Adelaide Sirox Kari, National EMTV News.
A cocoa cooperative in the Pomio district of East New Britain province has made their stance not to allow oil palm to replace cocoa as their main cash crop. The Ilugi Cocoa Cooperative chairman, Sam Mori, says that they are allowing people to choose freely which crop they would like to farm and are not forcing people to give away the land to the oil palm developers. This comes following ongoing controversies over oil palm projects that are taking over vast regions of customary land.
At right in the Sinivit local level government of Pomio district, you can clearly see the competition between oil palm and cocoa. This dirt road separates about 10 hectares of cocoa block from its new competitor, oil palm, and it clearly indicates the line of division drawn between those who want oil palm and those who want cocoa. The Ilugi Cocoa Cooperative, comprising over 500 members, own the 10 hectares of cocoa block, but despite the threat from the oil palm incursion, the group has maintained their loyalty to cocoa and won't give up their land to oil palm.
Usha tem lagona planim oil palm, naimiku, kengo, free longo, because I'm not thinking long in here. Na nunga man by tokosem, when you go up or when you come long cacao.
The Ilogi cooperative has recently been awarded as one of the top 50 cocoa producers in the world during the Cocoa of Excellence Award in Paris in October last year, and this achievement by the group has further strengthened their hopes that although cocoa is down, it is not out.
When I'm something only working long or only working long side, I'm planning to travel on how only working inside long. So me play busy one them cacao. Me play like in so long cacao.
The Riet area used to be one of the largest contributors to the East Newberton cocoa market in previous years, until the cocoa pod borer infestation trimmed its production immensely and gave way to alternative cash crops like oil palm. The coming of oil palm into East Newberton is one that is overwhelming to the people who were accustomed to cocoa and copra as their main cash crops. Many have given up huge portions of their customary land to the oil palm developers to replace cocoa, hoping for a better income, while others have given up their land to see the delivery of roads, schools and health services, the basic needs that were promised to be delivered if they plant oil palm. Edmund Fidelis, National MTV News, Kokopo.
You're watching National MTV News. We go for a break. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To some good news for rugby league fans, EMTV will be broadcasting the English Super League starting this weekend. The first match between Warrington and Leeds will be shown this Friday.
The Super League is England's professional rugby league club competition. 11 teams from England and 1 from France compete every year for a period of 8 months. 6 PNG Comals players have been contracted to different clubs in the Super League. Comals captain David Mead picked up a 3-year deal with the French club Catalans Dragons after spending a year with the Brisbane Broncos. He joins fellow Comal Paul Ayton. Comals winger Gary Lowe signed with the Castleford Tigers after a successful year with the Tier 2 club Sheffield Eagles. Kat Baptiste joined the Leigh Centurions after he was released from the Canberra Raiders. Wellington and Stanton Albert have joined the Widnes Vikings and were recently granted visas to work and live in the UK. Kato Otio was set to join the Widnes Vikings but tragically passed away earlier this month. After Otio's death, the Vikings' tremendous support towards the late superstar was enormous. Their support created a following in PNG, with Papua New Guineans recognizing the club and backing them in this year's Super League season. MTV will begin screening Super League matches this weekend, with Warrington to take on Leeds live on Friday at 5:45 AM with a replay at 7 PM. And the second match on Saturday will be shown live at 5:45 AM and replayed at 7 PM between St. Helens and Gary Lowe's team, Castleford. Elijah Levet, National MTV Sports.
Brisbane Broncos coach Wayne Bennett has named his 23-man squad to take on the SPPNG Hunters. The Broncos will play the Hunters in a pre-season trial match at the National Football Stadium on the 24th of February.
The Broncos team consists of many top players from their club. Players like Darius Boyd, Anthony Melford, Jordan Kahu, Cody Nikorima, Corey Oates and James Roberts are part of the team. Broncos recruit Jack Bird will also be part of the team and will be out in the Broncos jersey for the first time after transferring from the Cronulla Sharks. Big Sam Thaiday has also been named and will travel up with the team. Also travelling to Port Moresby's Broncos CEO Paul White and former players Alan Langer, Scott Prince and Justin Hodges. The team arrives in Port Moresby on February 22nd. A fundraising dinner will be held on Friday, February 23rd at the Stanley Hotel before the match on Saturday. Elijah Levet, National MTV Sports.
To rugby union now, the Puk-Puks concluded their Sydney Sevens campaign with a 24-5 loss to Wales in the Trophy Challenge on the weekend. While in the Women's Challenge, the Palais ended their winless Sydney Sevens campaign with a 41-5 loss to Japan in the 11th place playoff after scoreless defeats to Australia, France and Spain. Trukai Sports continues with cricket and hockey after these messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To cricket now, and Sri Lanka are the champions in the plate finals of the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup in New Zealand. Like the PNG Under-19 Garamuts, Sri Lanka fell short of making the cut to challenge competition leaders Australia, India and Afghanistan in the Super League, thus falling back to the plate playoffs, having won only one of their three pool matches. Sri Lanka redeemed themselves by winning all three of the plate final matches against Kenya, Zimbabwe and West Indies respectively to take out the plate. The PNG Garamuts, on the other hand, are coming out of this tournament without a win, but more experienced than before. For now, some of the team members have set their sights on the national men's team. Still in cricket, New Zealand has been knocked off their #1 placing in the T20 cricket in the latest world rankings, falling behind Pakistan after the just completed series. They will be hoping to get back on top when they take on Australia in Sydney this weekend.
ICC rankings come with a lot of hype, but it's not all about the numbers for Colin Munro.
As long as I'm playing good cricket, and whether it's good enough to be #1 or whether it's not, then it doesn't really matter.
In the latest T20 batting rankings, the opener has slipped from top spot to 4th. His 50 runs from the 2 opening matches not enough to prevent Pakistan's Babar Azam claiming pole position. But with his hamstring no longer an issue, he's rearing to go.
Thought it was more muscular, but it's a little bit more nervy, so I know it's not going to get any worse.
Losing the series to Pakistan proved costly for the Kiwis, surpassed by the visitors in the T20 standings. The 2 straight losses, no cause for concern.
Yeah, I don't think there's main concerns, just a little bit of execution, that's all. And sometimes when you don't execute with the ball, you can be found out a little bit or with the bat.
Mitch Santner, the big winner this week, an IPL deal, and now toppling Ish Sodhi in the T20 bowling ranks. And he could wreak havoc against Australia just as England have been doing.
I think every time we play Australia, it's going to be tough, but if we focus on what we can control out there and do what we can do best, we've been #1 in the past, so there's no reason why we can't get back there.
And getting back there could be a realistic feat if they can take out the hosts at the SCG and get their winning run back on track.
To hockey, it's more than a year out of hockey, but New Zealand veteran Anita McLaren will be making a comeback for the Black Sticks. She's one of the best midfielders and announced her return just in time to push for a Commonwealth Games selection.
Back in black.
There are a lot of nerves, a lot of sleepless nights, just the training even.
Having not played since the Rio Olympics, McLaren has been named in the New Zealand women's hockey squad to play Argentina next month. What brought you back?
I think just sort of feeling a little bit empty and not quite finished with my career. I thought I could still give a lot to the group.
She took a break from hockey to focus on work after New Zealand finished agonisingly close to a medal in Rio. Having played 247 internationals for New Zealand, McLaren's decision will no doubt be welcome news for coach Mark Hager. McLaren's renowned speed and skill set, coupled with invaluable experience, a big boost.
There's the shot and right into the top corner from Anita McLaren.
But the full hockey package may take some time.
I'm fit enough, it's just the hockey. There's a few very thick cobwebs, but I'm just taking it step by step, training by training. And as long as I'm improving each session, I'm really happy with that.
And if they do improve in relatively quick time, the immediate carrot of the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games may be inevitable.
For me, it's in my sight line, that's for sure. But I have to play well first.
If she does, she's likely to be finding the back of the net again just when it matters.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. We go for a break. When we come back, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, cloudy periods expected in Port Moresby. Monsoonal rains the order of the day for Daru. Rain and drizzle for Kerma. Rain and showers for Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momasa region, rain expected in Leh and Wau. Some showers and rain as well for Medang and Wewak. Some drizzly rain for Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, rain and showers expected for Lorengau, Kavieng, Kimbe and Buka. Some rain as well for Kokopo and Rabaul. And in the Highlands region, the major centers Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg can expect some rain over the next 24 hours. To a look at the forecast for small ships. First, there is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of Papua New Guinea, also for the Coral Sea, Solomon Sea and Bismarck Seas. Gale wind warning current for all inland areas and coastal waters of the southern region, mainly from southern PNG. To the forecast for small ships, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerma, Yule Island, to Hood Point, to Samarai Island, seas 2.5 to 3.5 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands to seas 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel, Finchafen, and with waters of Finchafen to Vitias, Dampier Strait, to Siasi Island, to Long Island, to Medang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo, and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 2 to 3 meters. And waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea, seas rough to very rough with northwesterly winds at 30 to 48 knots. Solomon Sea, seas rather rough with northwesterly winds at 20 to 25 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas rather rough with northwesterly winds at 20 to 25 knots. And the Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with northwesterly winds at 15 to 20 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Tuesday, the 30th of January. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.